Welcome to the Red River Valley of North Dakota. A land flowing with milk and honey. You're watching Beet Farmin Mitch. Good morning from the tropics. Or not. And honestly, it kind of feels like the tropics around here. The weather's been like 30, 40, almost 50 degrees this last week, which actually hasn't been great. So I'm not sure who sent me this, but thank you, Faith Family Farming. That's what I live by. Appreciate it. And hey, look at that on the arm. Oh, don't forget to keep it sweet. Well, finish my cup of coffee and let's head out to the shop. Johnny. Okay, so here we've got a piling site for sugar beets. So these here are the piled sugar beets, right? So during harvest, the farmers in the area, we hauled our sugar beets in here, stored them here, and you can see those fans on the outside. And so what those do is when it's really cold out, like below zero, ideally like negative 20 or 30, they will be turned on and they will blow freezing cold air up through the piles to freeze the piles down into a deep freeze state. And then they will be processed throughout the processing campaign that American Crystal Sugar does, which is owned by the farmers, by the way. But because it's been pretty nice these last couple weeks, like 40 degrees, I think it was 50 one day this week. Not ideal for sugar beet storage. There'll be some shrink there, a little bit of sugar loss. So yeah, sugar beet farming, not only do you have to be concerned about the weather during the growing season, but also in the winter, so praying for the weather year round. Oh hey, that picture. So this was Jenny and I's like first date ever, ice skating. That was a good time. So a little North Dakota history here. You can see that machine out there. That's an old steam threshing machine. And basically what farmers would do back in like the late 1800s and early 1900s is you would collect the wheat into all these big bundles and stack up the grain and bring it over to that threshing machine somewhere in the field, and then that would thresh out the grain. So it's kind of crazy to see how agriculture has evolved in the last 100 years or so. And back then, it was like all wheat around here. Lots of wheat back in those days. Kind of the wheat belt. Now we're kind of the sugar belt. Made it to the shop. So pretty much Monday through Friday, 9 to 5, my brothers and I work in the shop in the winter, servicing trucks, tractors, sugar beet equipment, all that good stuff. So right now we're going through our sugar beet equipment. We're going through a sugar beet topper right now. Don't have much left on it. Hopefully we can get the flails done today, but let's go check it out. Oh hey, I don't know if you guys have met this shop cat before. This is Navy, named after Navy beans. He's a pretty good shop cat, quite energetic. So here we've got a sugar beet topper. So what this does is it cuts the leaves off the tops of the sugar beets, kind of gets them prepped to be lifted out of the ground. 1222 AHS to be specific, Artsway. So if we take a look in here, usually what we're doing is we're looking for bad bearings, inspecting the belts, different things like that. Pretty much thumb through everything. We already did check the bearings, greased it, checked the belts. Did a little fabricating on some missing pieces. Now on this side, there's these two belts. Gonna replace these two. You can see there's some wear on that one. I think this one has a chunk of metal in it, yeah, or something. Kind of worn out too, so gonna replace both these belts so we're tuned in for next year. Because downtime during sugar beet harvest is not fun. And so back here we got the scalpers. We had a couple disc blades to replace these two here. They were kind of cracked around the bolts. Fresh bolts on them. I replaced a bearing on this one. It was kind of getting a little rough, so stuff like that. Check the tires, wheel bearings. Pretty much thumb through the whole thing, make sure it's tuned up, ready to go. Oh, that's a heavy door. So the mechanism that actually cuts the tops off the beets, this is a set of flails here. These are metal in the front. Usually those run a little bit higher so you don't chip up the beets, but that kind of does most of the shredding. So those are up there, and then back here you've got two sets of rubber flails. This one spins around this way, and this one spins around backwards like that. So that usually, you can set all three of those kind of to proper heights and have them have nice clean beets, and then the scalpers kind of finish the job. So this is a 12 row. You can see there's 12 rows going all the way down, and 22-inch spacing on each of them, and you can see this is a new rubber flail, and just about done with this job, but I'm gonna get suited up and hop in here and go through some flails. Here's the back roll of the flails. So I said this one spins around backwards, so you can see this will be the edge hitting the beets. This is a nice edge. This will do a good job cleaning them. So basically what I'll do is I'll take these clips off and with these nuts here and go through, rotate all these fingers appropriately, kind of put maybe a little bit more worn ones on the outside, replace a couple if need be, and just kind of make sure it's a good flail surface on them. Because otherwise if you just replace them all, there's still pretty good ones on here you can keep using for a while. And you can see there's a lot of them. There's a lot of those flails on there, so it takes a while to get through all of them. And there's the front section too. This one doesn't get quite as much wear on the front. It's a broken one there I'll fix and just kind of double check this one. Not quite as intense on this row, but this back one, gotta go through every single flail section. So I usually take a screwdriver, scrape these up, spray them out with a little WD-40 and then ratchet them off. But new tool in the arsenal, power ratchet. I know I should have an impact socket on here, but it really saves a lot of time. I can put this on here and I can actually break it loose by hand if need be. And then you just let it rip. They're all lock nuts on here, so it saves a lot of time just being able to crank them off rather than keep ratcheting them. So these clips are what hold those rods on there that the flails are on. So what I'll do is I'll pull them all off, kind of see if there's any big cracks in them or anything. And honestly, a lot of these are in really good shape this year, so might as well use that again. And so I gotta pay attention to which way they go. Kind of like rotating tires on your car, we rotate these around. So I'll maybe put like, you know, one that's, it's not perfect, but it's still really good shape. Put that one on the outside, maybe put the next best one in there. Brand new one in the middle. And a couple other ones that are pretty decent on the next outside. And there's this little rubber spacer that goes in there. So there you go, that's a nice surface to top beets with. Clip and rod looks good, don't have to replace that. And you bolt it back on. One down, a lot more to go. There's this broken one here, I'm gonna go ahead and replace that. There you go, I got this backside done. Sometimes those rods and clips will be bad if they're kind of worn out and spinning. Gotta replace those, but we already rotated this whole shaft once, got through those. Front, we just kind of thumb through, make sure those are in pretty good shape. Sometimes we'll go through them a little more thoroughly, but they look pretty good overall. These back ones kind of get, since the topper is tilted back a little bit more generally, it sweeps a little bit of the row, gets a little more wear, so looking good, ready to shred some beet tops. Or as our topper guy Chip would say, mowing money. Well, we've got our new flails done. These things ready to chop, looking good. And I'll show you some of the other projects we've kind of done. This thing is almost done. We just got to fix those belts on those other side like I was talking about earlier. Bearings all look good, grease, checked wheel bearings, checked tire pressure. Hoses all look good. Got these puppies labeled properly. It saves a lot of time not having to think through and troubleshoot that every time. Rubber flaps all look good. Metal flails look good. 2 belts got to be replaced. We replaced some of these little rubber finger guys. Built that one from scratch. What the heck, why not? Checked gearbox oil, tightened it down. Tire pressure. There was a leaky hydraulic cylinder over there. Some of these chains were kind of getting worn down on these springs. This spring was in tough shape, so popped a new one on. And that's about it. We're having a little bit of trouble with our flashing lights on here, so we're gonna look at that still. And that belt, and this one's done, and we got one that's pretty much exactly the same, so we got to do this all over again. Takes a couple days to get through all those flails with 2 guys going hard, so doesn't happen overnight. And then we'll be off to our sugar beet harvesters in here in no time. So yeah, so basically my brothers and I working in the shop here, getting stuff done, and we got through all of our trucks, we got through all of our tractors, and now we're going through our beet stuff. So 2 toppers, 2 harvesters. Harvesters are up next, and we'll be doing planters and being out in the weather before you know it. And a shout out to whoever did custom make me this sweatshirt. There's a lot of thought that went into this thing. Got the North Dakota thing here. Of course, don't forget to keep it sweet on the arm. And Jenny has a matching one. So whoever sent you that, thank you very much. I appreciate it. I'll be sporting this sweatshirt. And with that, this is Beet Farmin Mitch, and don't forget to keep it sweet.